Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Friday, the 23rd day of August, 2024. Happy Friday. I hope you're safe and healthy today. I hope your family is safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, who work along with the first responders to save lives every day. Those also that pick up garbage to keep our places clean and make deliveries for our convenience, safety. Double blessings on the men and women trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children that are victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People that are also victims of pornography and child pornography, prostitution and child prostitution, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, profiteers, and perverts that create demands for these industries. And finally, blessings upon the homeless. More than 600,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, veterans, homeless in the United States of America, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. Today I want to talk about one of my favorite Knicks. One of my favorite Knicks since he was drafted in the second round in 2018. That is Block-Ness monster, Mitchell Robinson. I just always liked this guy. I'm very similar in my basketball philosophy to Tom Thibodeau in that I really favor defense and rebounding. And I knew when they got this kid that they got a steal because he would have been drafted in the lottery, but he was downplayed because he left school early. He just walked off the campus and left and started working out for the draft. And a lot of rumors about attitude came out, and that caused his stock to plummet to the second round, which was to the Knicks' benefit as they grabbed him, I think, with the 36th pick, I think it was, in the second round of the 2018 draft. And so, I always felt he was a championship piece. I still think he's a championship piece. There are downsides, which, of course, there are people in Knicks Nation that like to analyze and focus on the negative. I like to focus on winning. And this is what I believe Tom Thibodeau likes to focus on. And there are some key things. Now, number one, with all players on the Knicks, and this is what a lot of people still don't get, but Tom Thibodeau gets, Leon Rose gets, and I'm trying to explain it to y'all. The most important stat of all, aside from being available, which we know MitchRob is not that available, but the most important stat is the impact on winning. The bottom line is to build a long-term sustainable winner that can win a championship. And in that, you want certain players that fit the culture of what you're building as an organization, which the Knicks have now done. But what you want with those players, among their character traits, is a high impact on winning. That's what you want. Okay, so all of this crap about hitting threes, stretch fives, and all of this and leading in assists, the one thing we need above everything is to win. Okay, to win. Now, this past season was, unfortunately for MitchRob, a typical season. He didn't finish the season. In fact, he didn't even play. I think I'm looking at it, he played 31 games last year. Okay. He had a 72-game season 2 or 3 years ago. We need another one of those from him. I think we'll get it now that he's a bit more mature, physically mature, as well as understanding the NBA. So I'm thinking there's a good shot we could get it. But the reason why, for example, the 31 games that he played last year, and this is really the first part of the season. It wasn't really the second part of the season. He played some, but it wasn't really, at his strength. The Knicks were 19-12 when he plays, okay, last year. And that's typical of him. But the biggest stat to me that jumped out at me when I'm looking at Mitchell Robinson is when you look at his plus minus, okay? When you look at his plus minus, now sometimes plus minus can be deceiving, but sometimes it's telling. When MitchRob is plus, which happened in the 31 games he played, 16 games, he was +1 or better, okay? 16 games, he was +1 or better last year. When MitchRob was +1 or better last year, in 16 games, the Knicks were 15-1. Let me say that again. When MitchRob was +1 or better, which happened 16 times last year, the Knicks were 15-1. That's the stat Thibodeau's paying attention to. Okay? And that, of course, was going back to before the trade even, when they didn't have the team that they finished with. Of course, I'm not saying that Isaiah Hartenstein wasn't tremendous. If they could have re-signed Isaiah Hartenstein, he'd be starting. And MitchRob being the second unit, and boy, would that be something. But no, that's not the case. Hartenstein is down OKC now. But Mitchell Robinson, if you can get him in, and this is the thing for him. Now, why is he important? Well, obviously, we talked about Tom Thibodeau being a defensive-focused coach, the Knicks being a defensive-focused team. Tom Thibodeau's defensive focus starts with a rim-protecting 5. That's just how it is. Okay? He starts with a rim-protecting 5. That's Mitchell Robinson. Okay? Now, for MitchRob, obviously, we want the rim protection, which he provides. No matter how many games he plays, that's what he provides. That's his thing. And rebounding, particularly offensive rebounding. Now, the type of rebounder, been great rebounds. To me, the greatest rebounder in NBA history was two guys, which really, Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell. Two greatest rebounders in NBA history. Russell would talk about the technique of rebounding. And of course, you have to box out. Of course, there's that. But he would talk about understanding his teammates and how they shot the ball and where off the rim the ball would bounce so he can be in the best position to get to the ball. That's part of being a great rebounder because, Russell, like I said, one of the greatest rebounders there ever was. And there's been some great rebounds in the NBA. But with 11 rings, I don't think it's any coincidence. But Bill Russell talked about that. And also, another great rebounder, I think he led the NBA in rebounding at least 6 times, maybe 7. He led the NBA in rebounding, Dennis Rodman. He also would understand where the ball was coming off the rim, number one. And most of Dennis Rodman's rebounds weren't just like jumping up, snatching the ball and clutching it, which of course is what you call a rebound, but he would be tipping the ball. He would get his hands on the ball, tip it, continually tip it until he got it. Mitchell Robinson is probably, I would say, top 2 or 3 in the NBA at doing that. So he uses his 7+ wingspan, which he has, and he times the shot and where the ball's going to bounce. And he's excellent at tipping the ball and keeping it alive on the offensive end. So this is very important. And he will do this, whenever he plays. It's just part of his game. He also, one of the things that has hindered him, and I'm expecting him to be better at this year because he has shown flashes of it, just his ability to run the floor. He gets discouraged if he runs the floor and doesn't see the basketball. And that's why, it's common parlance in basketball, just common, that if a big man is running the floor, the point guard, whoever's got the ball, wants to get him a touch because he's running the floor. It's a big thing if you can get a big man to run the floor. This is one of Isaiah Hartenstein's strengths. He was continually running the floor. If you can get a big man that runs the floor and does what Mitchell Robinson does in terms of offensive rebounding and rim protection, you don't need no stretch 5, You don't need no stretch 5. You got what you need right there from him, okay, to win the championship. So running the floor is very important. Somebody asked, well, you think they'll use MitchRob on the low block this year? I don't know what fantasy you guys are in, but they already do use him on the low block when he runs the floor. When he runs the floor and gets a mismatch, Brunson, Hart, Devo, they find him. Okay? OG, when he runs the floor and gets a mismatch, which happens under his basket against somebody that's shorter than him because he's taller than most people because of his length, he gets a basket. And just running the floor and getting down the court quickly, from transitioning from defense to offense and vice versa, but especially from defense to offense, puts pressure on the defense because if they don't keep up with him, he's going to get an easy basket. Okay? And so that's going to be big this year. Those 3 areas. So on as far as low block, it's not going to be a half court game where they find him on the low block. That does happen. It's happened, even this past season. They found him like that a few times. They get him started sometimes early in games to get him going, to get him a feel for the ball, just early in the game to get him involved, because that's the key thing here. You want to get him involved. He doesn't have to take 20 shots a game. He doesn't even have to take 10 shots a game. You just want him involved so that he feels that it's possible for him to touch the basketball. Period. Okay? And so if he gets involved in the game, and they do that, the Knicks do a good job, and I feel like they're going to be better at it now because of continuity. They'll get him involved. They'll get him touching the basketball early. He's going to run the floor. That's his job. Run the floor, get offensive rebounds, protect the rim. Also, because you now have Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby on the wings, he is not going to have to cover up as many mistakes as he has had to do in the past, which he's had to do a lot. Cover up mistakes. And he does. He erases a lot of mistakes. A lot of times it doesn't result in a block shot, but it's just his presence, his agility, being there. It cover up a lot of mistakes. A lot of people hesitate coming down the lane because he's in there. And that's rim protection right there. Now, he won't have to do that as much, which would also keep him out of foul trouble. After his second or third season, many people still stuck on his first 3 seasons. He's in foul trouble. No, he's not. He's very good at keeping himself out of foul trouble. And that will even be really good for fourth quarters. Okay? Now, you don't want to play him more than 25 minutes a game. You really don't. And again, that's the model that I've noticed is now being used. It's used by Popovich in San Antonio. It's used in OKC by Diagono. It's a model where you keep your big man fresh and you lower the possibility of injury by limiting his heavy minutes. You don't want him to have heavy minutes. Okay. You want him to be like 25 minutes. If you need him 30, you play him 30. Last year, I think I'm looking at the high for MitchRob. He played 35 minutes in a win against the Clippers. He played 35 minutes. That was the high. And that's about just the one time he did that. You don't really want him to do that a lot. Okay? You really don't. So most of the times he was around 30 minutes for the Knicks. You could even play him less than that. But that's what you're looking at with Mitchell Robinson to get to maximize what he can do for you in terms of winning. Okay. So the key, he has to run the floor. We already know he's going to get offensive rebounds. We already know he's going to protect the rim. He's going to do that. His length and quickness as a big is tremendous. That's why he's successful in these two areas. But you want him to be positive, which means you want him to touch the basketball early, which the Knicks, again, they've been doing that. And you want him to run the floor to get easy baskets. He's not Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin is like great at that, but he's Obi light. Like if he could run the floor and get mismatched, he will get some easy baskets. Very important. All right. And now Brunson now comfortable as the captain, comfortable as the quarterback of the team, the point guard, the maestro, as Clyde would say. He will see Mitch Robinson, not just him, but all. OG is very good at seeing the floor. Mikal Bridges, they play ball the right way. The only guys that the Knicks have had that would not keep their head up to see guys down the floor are Juju and one RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett's not here anymore. Juju is. Hopefully Juju picks that up. I have the confidence in Juju to know that he's going to do that. But that's it. If the other guys, your Deuces, your Devos, your Hearts, they will see the floor and they will see Mitch Robinson running and they will try to catch him on the lob. You're not going to get 20 points a game of that. But if you can get 2 or 3 baskets like that in the game, that's huge. That's 2 or 3 easy baskets. The more easy baskets you get, the better chances of you winning the basketball game. The more offensive rebounds you get, the better chances of you winning the basketball game. Okay? Mitchell Robinson is key to these. And so the key for the Knicks, him and OG are the 2 biggest risks for the Knicks this season because of their injury history. They're the 2 biggest risks. If we're looking at Mitch for his career, right? We're looking at him for his career. I think I don't even think MitchRob has averaged, 50 games a year. That's been the problem. He had 66 his rookie year, 61 his second year, 31 his third year, 72 his fourth year. Fifth year he was 59 games, and of course last year he had 31 games. So he has played 6 seasons and has played 320 games, regular season game, which means he is averaging around 50 games a year. Okay, he's a little bit better than 50 games a year. That's why I say this year, understanding everybody in Knicks Nation, everybody in Knicks organization, all the players, and Mitchell Robinson himself most of all, sees that. And MitchRob, in his interview with Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, expressed his frustration with his own ability, the lack of ability to stay healthy. He was very frustrated when it happened this past season. He really is tired of it. And so one thing that I know, he is working on his body so that come December, because it seems to happen in December, so that comes December, he's going to stay healthy. Okay. And I'm sure Tom Thibodeau wants him to stay healthy. So this is not, now we have a pattern. We know what we're working with. That's one of the things, the benefits of understanding a pattern. You know what you're working with to try to improve the situation. So with him, you want to keep his minutes. Like I said, 28 is good. Definitely under 30 on a regular basis. You will have some exceptions to that, but that's what you want. You want him to touch the ball early. You want him to run the floor and get rewarded for running the floor by getting the touch. That's all you want. Getting the ball. Okay, and then you want him to, of course, protect the rim, get offensive rebounds. He's going to do that. That's automatic. That's his ticket to the league. Everybody has a ticket that got them in the league and why they there. For him, it's offensive rebounding and rim protection. If he can run the floor, I ain't asking him for the jump hook. I know all y'all, he needs to work on this. All you want to be coaches out there. This is the league, man. This guy know what he need to do. There's things he can do, things he can't do. I know we'd like him to shoot 70% from the line. Yeah, we all like that. But he's not doing it. But what he could do is help us get this chip. Y'all enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Friday. Shalom.